signify controllers can see. So Essex's chase will be 193 in the 20 over game taking place at the moment. In the Rachael Heyhoe Flint Trophy, Northern Diamonds are 6 for 1. Their chase as Davis goes back. Plenty of time in the end, play it to cover, not delivery recorded. 227 is the Diamonds' target. South East Stars, they need another 183 as they chase down 210. 27 for 1 is their score at the moment, as Thomas again does the fielding at short extra cover, which has been a busy position in this competition.
The textbook forward defensive from the head of sport.
Taps the bat on a couple more occasions, does Davis. Waits and is jamming down again in textbook fashion, but to a fuller Yorker ball from Natalie Brown. You almost just feel here that we're kind of waiting for Alex Hartley to get involved and try and bowl a side into the game as she did at Edgbaston the other day.
Indeed. And the ever entertaining which she put in front of her name every time, actually.
She certainly entertained with those overthrows when she came out to bat, which was good.
It was, I don't know, she sort of plunked the ball down on the ground, but somehow then it ended up being thrown for overthrows. So yes, five runs to the score for a plonk down onto the popping crease.
Eve Jones just marks her guard again. Doesn't have to ask for it. She knows which line's hers, but she just makes sure it's a little bit more prominent in that hard.
Change of bowler from this end. Laura Jackson coming on.
Jackson is there with her hair tied right up on top of her head, and she comes in and bowls. Right arm over the wicket. Through it goes to Rachael, the wicket keeper. Dot.
Now she's played and coached in Australia, so we've got some more travel involved.
And having been halfway around the world and back, she's going to deliver a ball that is cracked away through the offside to the cover boundary. It brought a roar of approval from the pavilion away to our right, and it brings the Sparks into the 40s. 43 without loss. Eve Jones has 19 of them. Despite 167 on the board, it's already looking like Jones and Davis are going to try and make as short a work as possible as they can, but it could all change if a wicket was to tumble, but at the moment it doesn't look like it. Jackson delivering a ball there that was defended out easily. 43 without loss.
Nice mix of defence and attack, I think, from these two as well. The bat.
And Jones waits and decides which option to go for. It was very attacking, and it was actually probably not the ball to go for in the end. She's just ended up striking fresh air with that one.
I was slightly concerned about commentator's curse at that point.
No run from the last delivery. Jones waits again, slightly bent of knee in her stance, and then comes forward, and it's one of those cursory strides forward that she sometimes does when she leaves. Again, doesn't move the scoreboard on from 43. Another 124 required to win, and Eve Jones will try and be out there for as long as she can this afternoon. Waits again and again, strides forward but decides not to bring the bat down. So the dot finished the over. Siren whirs in the distance, and Sparks are making steady progress as things stand.
Can we yet say Sparks are flying a little bit?
Well, it's almost one of those occasions where they're not quite needing to fly at this point, they're just needing to progress their way along. Of course, hashtag Sparks will fly is how you get in touch with us on Twitter.
And do that, because the more engagement we get, the more likes we get for the live feed, the more retweets we get, the more we can actually get this sort of live commentary going.
In again then, Natalie Brown, and this one is forced away into the offside, and Olivia Thomas, who I think will be saying her name a lot in the field, does the work to prevent a run.
She's busy at mid-wicket there, isn't she?
And of course has enjoyed the fact that as that ball goes down the leg side, a wide ball, and another extra added to the total, 44 without loss. In fact, we had Raf on, as well as recording their podcast, jumping in on commentary for a bit, so that's good to have Hyde, of course, listening along, because such a depth of knowledge of women's cricket there as well, as this one bowled and flicked away well by Gwen Davis. Down it goes to Jackson, who is in and returns the ball to Rachael. Another single to the total. Sparks progressing nicely at the moment, 45 without loss. It's Brown here, 5 days. Working away in, this one time. No run, 5 down.
They jammed out by Lorenzo. As Rachael does up the ball. Apologies for mixing my mid-wicket up with my covers last over.
18 for 1. And a maiden in that was figures from 5 overs in the day. No sign of the maiden just yet from Natalie Brown, a little bit outside the off stump there. No run. No shot off it either. As Brown bowls to Jones, who trying to just work that. I think it past the bat, and the umpire agreed. A little just brush of the peg because there was no wide ball signalled. Rachael took nice and cleanly, and I suppose when there is a rush of anything as a wicketkeeper, you're going to sort of appeal, even if it's just to acknowledge how good and smooth the take was down the leg side. Rachael was quite happy to be up there. She's down the leg side again. This time it is a wide ball there, so another to the total, 46 without loss. The first wicket falling on 28, the second on 49 in the game on Bank Holiday Monday. So it feels as if this is looking a more comfortable chase at the moment already, and that would tend to lean towards that, because Sparks would have wanted them 2 wickets down by the time they got to this stage on Bank Holiday Monday, but both the openers still there at the moment. They make their way round. Jones and Davis just have a chat in the middle. And the first time in the competition as well that these two, or the opening pair, had put on a half-century stand for the Central Sparks, so that's something to aim for if they can get the next 4.
Yep.
Jackson will be trying to ensure it doesn't happen. Perhaps begin a second over. Cardboard cutouts watch on from the ladies' pavilion as this ball goes through outside.
Are they unmoved, Michael?
They are. Well, no, one of them's wiggling about in the this one on the far right as we look. He's waving around. It looks rather uncomfortable actually.
For those who found it, they're life size.
As Jackson comes in again, and this one is left outside the off stump. Coming on the pitch, you were playing the cricket here today and providing us with entertainment in the Rachael Heyhoe Flint Trophy. There's Jackson bowls, it's full, it's smashed towards Heath, who does well in the end actually to get something on that, because her first few paces weren't exactly entirely convincing, but Liberty Heath manages to get across and make the block eventually.
If you want to know what those cardboard cutouts look like, then go to the Twitter feed for Central Sparks. There's a good photo on there.
47 the score moves on to that single, and he'll stay there as this one goes through outside the off stump, and Hartley's begun vigorously warming up. The hands have gone in front of the body, they've gone up and down one at a time to the sky, and now they're whirling round in circles. There's Jackson comes in and bowls. This one is forced off the back foot. Marshall is there, and she does the fielding. Busy in the covers today as Marshall, as is Thomas at the other end. Another dot. Red caps on top of the very dark blue thunder strip. Almost like storm clouds, I suppose, is the colour of it. None of those about in the sky, thankfully, today, so Duckworth, Lewis nor Stern will be able to get involved in this one, and a single is added. 48.
I'm sure Duckworth will want to be involved. Duckworth's on the... She's got to get involved, hasn't she? But
I'm sure she can get a pad out. Get the pencil and pad out. And some of our PPE clad extra fielders comes on to take Alex Hartley's cap.
yeah, unlike the when some men's cricket on television, the players for this competition are not allowed to pass each other kit. So that's why we're having to have someone come on and pass the hats, etc.
Which I imagine would be a bit annoying, because most bowlers are quite used to putting their cap on at the end of the over, really. And
Absolutely. And we've seen it on the television, haven't we? When the men are playing, they're kind of wearing two caps and all that kind of thing. But yeah, not COVID guidance for safety reasons. They're bringing on somebody to take the kit off.
It's all very
oh, you know what's happening?
Confusing era of cricket.
It is, but you know what's happening now, don't you?
Well, Hartley's coming on to bowl.
Yeah. We're gonna see the wavy action. How big is that wave of that as she flutters behind the umpire going to be today?
Well, she bowled her side back into the game, I felt, on Bank Holiday Monday, and then Eccleston kept the control. See, she's only really going to have Hannah Jones to work with in the first instance here today, as a bird just flaps its way over the top of the Basil D'Oliveira stand. Eve Jones will be anxious to make sure she doesn't get out against a cricketer she knows very well. LBW to Hartley on Bank Holiday Monday. One of 2 wickets Hartley took for 19 from 10 overs. Needs something similar here as she bowls short, and Jones is playing away off the front foot, forcing away really the front foot, but it slipped off the face and no run was possible behind square on the offside. Hartley bowling in the sunglasses, which those of the 2017 World Cup will probably remember. This one is onto the pad of Jones, who's happy to just clip it away. The score goes on to 49. Applause for Jones taking the single.
Yes, Hartley and Cross on their No Balls podcast, which I would recommend. We're talking about Alex Hartley's style being flamboyant, so decided, which
Well,
Kate Cross decided she liked the word.
Starts with Kate Cross taking a wicket or whatever it is, and then Alex Hartley getting smashed for 4, which I think sort of
Self-deprecating,
yeah,
with a fancy word for it.
sets up the character as she comes in and bowls, and Davis has turned this off her leg for 1. It's a wild throw from Heap, and the keen Thomas is thankfully there to back up. 50 is up for the Central Sparks, and it is the first opening stand of 50 in the competition. The Thunder, of course, put on 50 in their innings as well. 53, I think, was the score when the first wicket fell, but it took a long time to come, and on this occasion it's been added to make it 51, and it's come up in the 12th over, which is definitely an advantage in that sense.
Yes, because the players also would be used to handing their caps and things to the umpires, so
yes, you just have to sort of
can't,
shake the head and say, no, sorry, not today. As this one is bowled, and Davis is across his stumps and defending.
And Hartley's decided to come over rather than round at this stage of the over.
Yeah, it was the 17th over the first wicket fell for
Just now.
Sparks, as Davis one way and then the other, and then the throw's not a great one, and Duckworth has to turn her back on it in the end because it bounced horribly in front of her, and she just was trying to make it as big as possible, and did so, preventing any scoring. 51 without loss, so yeah, the comparison, 17th over when Laura Marshall was out, the score was 53 for 1, so they've not lost the wicket yet, the Sparks, and they've got to the 50 mark rather quicker. So.
And it's the COVID hand gel break every 6 overs. The masked runners coming off with a hand gel.
Did amuse me, is what I'm trying to say. Completely the opposite to annoy. It did amuse me when I saw Marie Kelly sort of just missed out on the one of the I think it's the cricketers' team of the week for this competition, and had said she'd fetch her bib. So it seemed quite harsh on her after that innings on Bank Holiday Monday. But
match winner
scored, I suppose. See Laura McLeod making her way towards the box, so we might be able to get
working with intent
from Laura. Dot ball first of the over. As walking back to a mark goes Jackson, looking for the first wicket of the innings. The sun shining here at New Road, and this one is played off the back foot by Jones. I almost thought it was Davis for a second there, because it was a very Davis-like shot.
Yes.
She went right back onto her stumps and
both these left-handed
stood up nice and tall. As
left-handed bats, as Mike's
Jackson,
handing her.
and the ball is driven away into the offside. Marshall is there with the fielding. Dot ball is recorded.
I'll catch up with you in a bit, Mike. I think
yes, let's bring
former
Laura
Thunder,
in.
but now Central Sparks. Oh, I'm going to explain to you in a minute.
We'll just get the switch to occur as Jackson comes in and bowls, and this one is worked away into the leg side in front of square. There are runs here, 2 of them at least, as Georgie Boyce does the chasing back towards the boundary and is able to return the ball to Jackson. The score does now move on to 53, so Central Sparks will be away in, or ahead in every respect, unless there's a wicket with the score here, as Jackson bowls and it's played out into the offside. Duckworth there with the fielding and allows another dot ball to be taken. Good afternoon to former England cricketer and of course Director of Women's Cricket in the West Midlands, or something to that effect. I never quite get the words in the right order. Laura McLeod, who's moved into the box. Jackson to bowl here. Rachael's waiting with hands open, but the ball doesn't get there. She defended well. Over comes to an end, and I'm guessing that's a very satisfactory start. 13 overs, 53 without loss.
It's okay, isn't it? I think probably similar start to what Thunder got, but it looks like these two are fairly well set, and I may regret saying that.
Brave start, I'll be honest. As in comes Hartley to bowl to Gwen Davis, turns into the leg side, and she's not been done by Laura McLeod just yet, as takes the single. But I mean, you're ahead in terms of wickets. The first wicket in the Thunder innings fell to the score on 53, it's now on 54, and you've done it in less time as well, so it seems a very strong position, and that seems to reflect what we've watched.
It does. I think obviously now the slow bowlers are coming in, so that might have an impact on what happens from the 2 quality bowlers coming on.
Alex Hartley, one of those, and she bowls a ball that just bounces to a comfy height in the end for Eve Jones, and she defends it into the offside.
I think Alex will be looking obviously to break this partnership if she possibly can.
19 for 2 at Edgbaston, and it feels, as we've said, like it requires something similar. 1 run taken by Eve Jones. She's moved on to 25 very nicely, and will be absolutely desperate, I would imagine, not to get out to Alex Hartley again, having done so on Monday.
I think she will. Yeah, you're right. I think she will. It's one of those situations, isn't it, where you want to face the high-level, top-quality bowlers for the challenge, yet you kick yourself if you get out to them as well.
Certainly, having played a bit of cricket with Alex Hartley, it makes the pain all that more worse. As I think that was the dummy there from Hartley, who gave a big grunt as she delivered, as if she was trying to fire it down at 90 miles an hour, but it just came out at exactly the same speed.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
A little bit of kidology. We saw she managed to induce the overthrow somehow when she came to the wicket and create some chaos. There's dot balls there, Williams on the back foot forcing.
She did, didn't she? I think that ball just gone through there was quicker than the previous one. She had a big grunt at.
Bowls again. There's another little bit of a exertion from Hartley as a single is taken by Davis into the leg side on this occasion. 56 the score moves on to at the end of the over.
I think Alex will be desperate. You saw a little bit of a teapot from her there. She'll be desperate to try and break this partnership up. She's got a bit of responsibility here, not just with the ball, but also as captain. She needs to, her body language, the way that she goes about playing her cricket here, she needs to send a message out to her players. And in cricket, just like we saw last night, never give up.
In comes Jackson to bowl on off stump, and this one's forced away. Olivia Thomas is on watch at extra cover, and no run is taken. Yeah, I mean the message seemed to be from the Thunder players, from what I could hear from them chatting on the boundary, was a couple of wickets. You never know, but I guess as the runs tick away, it becomes harder and harder to convince yourself of that, as Thomas just gets a touch on it and single is taken. 110 more required. The score is 57 without loss.
I think it's the manner in which you go about a run chase as well, and it does look like even Gwen are finding it relatively easy here.
Jackson bowling in towards the pads of the left-handed Eve Jones, who just works it away. The running between the wickets right at the start was very noticeable, actually. Was that sort of one of the messages to the players?
I think they recognise the fact that you run quick singles, it does have an impact on everything.
In comes Jackson and bowls, and this one is played towards Thomas. Heat covering as well, which is always good to see. 57 without loss it remains. Because that seemed to be one of the differences between the two innings, is there was just a level of energy from these two at the crease.
Yeah, I think these two, not probably played too much with one another, but understand.
In comes Jackson, bowls, it's full and driven, but you can probably hear the sound on the effects mic actually. It was really towed in the end there by Jones. Davis happy to stand with hand on hip at the non-strikers.
The two left-handers at the crease as well. Left-handers in women's cricket is quite a rarity.
Which is strange, because international men's cricket, they seem to be dominated by left-handers now. This is a beautiful shot that will be up there with any shot from a left-hander in the world there from Eve Jones, just cracking it through extra cover. She's been waiting for that, she's been looking for it, and as soon as she got it, she found the boundary. 4 more runs, 61 without loss is the score at the end of the 15th over.
Eve can play so well in that area there. She's probably played 2 or 3 extra cover drives today, and there was one particular one off the back foot that was just so classy, so stylish. And then what she does really well, what she's doing really well at the moment is, not getting overexcited by it, and making sure that next ball she's still there.
Here's Davis, who's forward and defends resolutely, straight back to Hartley. Dot into the analysis. And is that sort of the challenge with a player like Eve Jones as a coach, as in comes Hartley to bowl again from the Diglis end, and this one sort of squirmed out into the leg side in the end, that her hands sort of almost instinctively go looking for that kind of open-faced offside shot, either off the back foot to the backward point boundary or the shot to the cover boundary, as this one does beat Davis outside her off stump, but she had those stumps well covered. No run once again. But you almost have to keep an eye on when it's going the right way and when it's perhaps just becoming that she's looking for it too much, as Davis has cracked this on the pull. She's gone through wide mid-on, she's seen it that early, and it's away for 4, 65 without loss.
I think that when you look at the way that these two play, you've got Gwennon who shorter and picks up the short ball very quickly, very easy, and then Eve's more of a she's a lot taller and as I say, a classic batter.
In comes Hartley and bowls, and this one's played away to mid-wicket. No run on offer for Davis. I mean, the pull shot Davis played at the opposite end,
yeah.
facing from the new road end. I mean, that had been 6 on a lot of first class grounds, and she's gone for another one here to the shorter side, and it's actually been brilliantly fielded by Natalie Brown, who's got across and got a hand to the ball on the bounce. A superb bit of fielding to keep it to 1 there, because Davis had cracked that. I mean, the one she hit on the other side went over the boundary one back. I mean, that was phenomenally hard. I mean, and it went dead flat. And
it was very timed. Yeah. You know, the boundary sizes are always going to be an interesting discussion in women's cricket, and as you say, that was properly cracked by Gwen on that side. Maybe if it was the other way around, that might well have been a 6.
Well,
I think.
If it hit one of our barbell cutouts in the ladies' pavilion, if it had been going the other way, it might have knocked one of their blocks off, to be honest.
But going back to your point, you know, on Eve, I think what's going to happen over the course of these games, but also moving into next year, is, you know, they'll be put into different situations and be asked to play the game situation, but they also need to develop themselves.
Here's Davis, who got a 1 off the last ball of the last over and gets a 1 off the first ball of this, outside half of the bat, but it was controlled, 67 without loss.
And what I mean by that is, you know, if she's going to move to the next level, she's got to dominate. So scoring just in excess of 150 it is something that obviously is a fairly easy task. But actually, if we've got players within our ranks that are going to move to the next level, they have got to, you know, really shift. As I say, they've got to dominate this area.
Well, that's the challenge, as Jones waits and has to defend this in the end. Not behind square, Duckworth with the fielding, 67 without loss. And the players, I believe, wearing the NHS their helmets today when they walk out to bat.
Yeah, something that was sent through from the PCA, nice gesture.
In comes Jackson to bowl. It's outside the off stump. It was almost a little too far outside the off stump for Jones to play the stroke she wanted. She hit it quite well, but good fielding on the offside prevents a run.
Nat Brown, despite the fact that she's been playing cricket for what feels like years and years, she's still a very good fielder.
Yeah, we saw that when Davis hit the pull shot off the last over, and she's eagerly and busily in. Here again is Natalie Brown, 67 without loss. I went for Nat Brown when she walked out to bat, and I wasn't sure whether she would prefer to be Natalie or Nat, but now I've had your approval. I'm happy to
I think Natalie must be her Sunday name stroke what her mother calls her.
That's fine. That's why I said I'd go for Natalie, because her mother might be listening, as this one is cut into the offside. Single taken. Marshall on the boundary in front of the cardboard cutouts in the ladies' pavilion does the fielding, 68 without loss. And if the Central Sparks got the Graham Hick Pavilion today, is that how it's working?
Yeah, so we've got the lower level of the Graham Hick Pavilion, and then Thunder are in the what once was the coffee shop, Foley's.
Bowled outside the off stump there by Jackson, melts into the gloves of Rachael. The over's completed, 68 without loss. It remains.
Yeah, we've got quite a big space actually. It's obviously due to COVID restrictions. Each area is given how many people can be in it, so we've got a fairly big space, and we can space out as well as we watch from the stands. It's been great actually, just to come to each of the grounds and have really good signage and know exactly where we're meant to be going and not going.
Ball delivered by Hartley as she dives away to her right hand side to stop a Jones drive into a 5th over now, as Hartley comes in again. This one's fiddled away by Jones to mid-wicket. Boyce there with the fielding. As Hartley comes in again. Well, short of a length, it's uppish that time, and just had to be careful there, did Jones. 68 without loss it remains. As Hartley comes in again and bowls to Jones again. Boyce has been busy in this
There's
over.
only 3 playing in this over.
Yeah, they're not letting many in on the game of bat and ball here. As Hartley will bowl again from the Digler Sound, and this one is turned past Boyce finally by Eve Jones, and she's got her single that was on offer out to the mid-wicket boundary. 69 without loss. We thought it was a strange quirk that Boyce had been caught by Davis 2 different weeks and 2 different fielding positions, the backward point and as the wicket keeper. As in comes Hartley, and Davis with the bat in hand now drives up to mid-off, but no run is on offer.
I think with going back to the dominance moving up to the next level, you've seen then it took 3 dot balls, 4 dot balls, and Eve managed to find a single in there. You know, it might be that as she's getting more confident and certainly finding more form, she might need to start thinking about, right, where can I create another gap for myself? So is that starting to think about hitting over the top straight and pushing mid-off or mid-on back, or is that starting to think about moving fielders around more square of the ball? I think with Eve, it's probably her strength is definitely hitting the ball straight.
Well, she's facing up now, and it's Jackson on her way to deliver here. Bowls short of a length, appeal for caught behind. Rachael liked it, nobody else seemed particularly interested. The umpire, most importantly, was not. So back to the end of her mark goes Laura Jackson into her 6th over and delivers the second ball of it from the new road end. No run scored.
It's been pointed out to me that we've got some very good cricket surnames in the Thunder team today.
Well, we've certainly learnt one thing, that there's a lot of Davises in the middle of the country, isn't there? You've found a fair few of them as Jackson comes in, and this one's clapped away on the drive, a square sort of drive that Brown was able to take most of off, and that helped Marshall come in and keep it to a single. 70 without loss, a fine partnership this one.
So Arlott,
yes.
Yeah, John Arlott, Jeffrey, Boycott.
Yes. I did notice they were calling her Jeffrey as
yes.
well.
Yeah, I'm not sure she likes that actually.
As in comes Jackson, and this one is driven up towards Liberty Heat, who manages to prevent the run. Yeah, no, it's certainly a...
Russell? Jack Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that one. That's quite a good one. Liz Russell bowled well today, actually. As
she did.
Jackson, and this one is defended out into the offside. Thomas with the fielding, no run. The Cathedral now in sunlight over away to our left-hand side, making the brown brickwork look that little bit lighter. Here is Jackson, and it's that kind of got there a bit when Davis wasn't expecting, and her bat just went through the ball.
Bit of gardening going on there, just to check that doesn't happen again. When I arrived this morning, there was a couple of people who did say to me that it might rain this afternoon.
Really?
Isn't it? Yeah, I don't know quite where they got that from, but looks like it's just going to be another lovely day.
We said it was almost storm cloud blue, the Thunder kit, because it's that dark, as this one's defended into the offside. Jones can't find a run.
It is dark, isn't it?
And Hartley will continue here. She bowls, and this one's driven sweetly in the end by Jones, but no run. We saw Laura Marshall have that problem. She absolutely peppered got from mid-on during her innings, but for virtually no reward, it seemed.
Bruce did that as well. Timing the ball was so sweet.
Hartley in a 5th over. This one swept away. That's a really nice shot. Speaking of sweet timing, it clatters into the advertising hoarding as it crosses the road. 4 runs, 74 without loss. Eve Jones is on to 36, highest score of the competition so far.
That was nicely played by Eve. Alex got the line a little bit wrong there, and Eve latched onto that.
What can she produce from this one? Just a little fiddle away into the leg side. Davis had to be quick and was just quick enough. The throw wasn't on target from Heap. That allowed the single to be taken. 75 now, the score. As in comes Hartley, defended out into the offside. No run scored on that occasion. Alex Hartley back to her mark. She knows she needs something here for her team to get them going. Can't find it there. There's a little bit of confusion, and it looks as if a run out might be the only possibility the Thunder have here.
Yeah, there was a slight indecision there, but nothing that led to anything. A wicket being taken, so that was good. They both recognised, I think, at the same time that whilst they may have thought that something was on, it actually wasn't, and there was no need to take a risky single at this stage.
Jones just waiting at the crease now. Jackson to continue a spell from the New Road end, and this one's driven nicely. And Thomas, who just always seems to be there in that cover region, a bit like Eve Jones, who actually took a really good catch in the final over and a very impressive out in the end.
Yeah, she did. She got peppered, didn't she, in that position there.
In comes Jackson. Bowls right on over the wicket. It's a difficult angle for the umpire to give there to the left-handed Jones, and even though it was low and certainly made good contact with the pads, there was no interest. 75 without loss, it stays.
A little bit of bat involved there, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. I felt it was probably struggling to pitch in line as well from the angle. What can Jackson produce here? Of course, she can't go too far outside the off stump because she'll be right into that arc of Jones, but she's gone onto the pads and Jones has turned it away. Very, very impressive piece of batting. 4 more runs, 79 without loss, and the Sparks looking very good. Got the number on the back of Gwen Davis's shirt at the moment on the board. Little tap of the bats. I guess you don't want to start thinking about that 40 over mark, but if this goes past 100, then you inevitably have to, don't you? As Jackson is into bowl, there's a long way to go, and Jones has to be on watch there as she's back on her stumps and forcing to mid-off for no reward. Yeah,
you never know when a bonus point might come in handy with the games as we're getting properly now into the competition.
Particularly given the Diamonds have picked one up themselves. This one driven by Jones, but not as cleanly as the one where she found the extra cover boundary, so she doesn't get a run on this occasion. But that's definitely a shot. That and the forcing shot off the back foot that we saw early on in this innings are the Eve Jones trademarks that we're all coming to enjoy. There's Jackson, bowls full, and this one is the forward option of the two. The drive is parried by, you guessed it, Olivia Thomas once again, always willing. 79 without loss at the end of the over.
I think what I'd like to see Eve either develop or certainly attempt is something to go aerial there. If you watch international cricketers, they have the ability now to hit over that extra cover and put a ring on, and Eve's struggling here.
In comes Davis, had to watch that all the way, but did, and keeps her wicket intact, but doesn't score.
it would just add something to her game, I think, if she can be brave and get it over extra cover.
Gwen Davis going down the ground, powerful stroke. This will be 4 runs. Really good shot. Just threw her hands at that, went onside of straight and away for 4. 83 without loss. Davis just progressing along in her own time, really. She's on to 28.
That was very, very close to Eve Jones stopping that.
Yes.
I think it may well have gone very closely to Eve's elbow.
Davis trying to get back and look for that favoured pull shot, but can't quite get it wide mid-on this occasion as she did earlier in the knock. Made 33 in the first game. Davis out for 1 in the second, and she was just trying to eke her way to the total of 136. It's a bit higher today, but at the moment it's been made to look easy work. Another 84 required to win. As Gwen Davis just has a look over her shoulder wisely, because the fielder's gone back to the boundary. She defends. It's like thinking about immediately trying to turn it away to that fielder.
Yeah, there's now 2 boundary riders on this leg side, and given Gwen some gaps, but she's not going to ball it there.
Voice of Laura McLeod there, former England cricketer, alongside myself, Mike Perkins, of course an association with Sparks now, but previously with at least 2 of the counties involved in the Thunder franchise in Cheshire and Lancashire. 1 run taken, 84 the score, meaning 83 more are needed. I can't remember what your answer was on was it a strange experience to kind of be with your new team but against a team you have such an association with?
And I can't remember what I said. I think I probably went for the and this is not a political answer in any way, honestly. It's what I want is, women's cricket to grow, and we grow together and we create really good competitive games. So, I want all the girls to come off here having done well, having felt like they've had a good opportunity. Of course, if we can come out superior, then that's fantastic for us. But I do want every single player to feel like they've been challenged, and we certainly had that last weekend against these at Edgbaston.
Thomas into the attack. We didn't get to see her bowl on Monday, but she's going to try her leg spinners here, and causes Davis after 1 delivery to retake the guard. Got some scores coming in from elsewhere as well. The Diamonds are chasing 227 to win. That'll be an interesting one as Davis is on the sweep powerfully out to backward square leg, but she only gets the reward of 1 run. 85 without loss in pursuits of 167 here. Diamonds 57 for 2 chasing 227. That sounds like it could be a good game.
It does.
Southern Group as Eve Jones takes her guard. 210 the chase for the South East Stars. They're 62 for 4, so struggling a little bit in that one against the Southern Vipers. Turned away behind square on the offside, but both batters, after a thought of a single, return to their respective ends. Sunrisers 71 for 5 against the Western Storm, who set them 267 to win. So it looks as if the close game is between the Lightning and the Diamonds at the moment. This one is swept nicely. It might even creep all the way over for 4 runs. It does. Well placed by Eve Jones, and the sweep brings a reward again, this time against Olivia Thomas in her first over. 89 without loss the score goes to, and now Eve Jones is a hit away from a half-century.
I think she's more than a hit away. Not sure we'll see a 6, but we can hope.
It's played down into the ground and away to Nat Brown. Well, I was going to say, what a time to develop that shot over the top you're talking about.
Definitely.
45. As Olivia Thomas, this one is cut away out into the offside. Marshall comes through and picks up. 1 taken, 90 without loss, and She's definitely a Heyhoe now because she's only 4.
She is.
Although
Yeah.
she has kept the strike as well. Yeah. So.
I'm willing to put money on that this is, if she's going to go to a 50 with a boundary, it will be backward of square here. I'd love her to just smack her straight back over her head though. That would be delightful. And I can imagine Alex's response as well.
Or we might have to turn the effects marks down if that
Oh no, change of bowling.
She's going to call on Georgie Boyce to have a go here. Which is an interesting sort of time to do it. It's not a bad idea actually to maybe just mix it up with a milestone approaching. See Essex in pursuit of 193, a 78 for 3 in the T20 game going on at the moment as well. So plenty of cricket to enjoy on this Saturday afternoon, which is always nice to say. And Olivia Thomas, despite bowling, is still in at short extra cover and is still preventing runs being scored because that full toss from Georgie Boyce was cracked straight at her, and that would have been 50 had she not fielded it. Short this time, and Jones will feel she's missed out on those first 2. She's had both lengths to look at and not been able to find the boundary on the Cathedral side of the ground. Bowling from the Diglis end. Boyce, it's full. Jones has got it through this time, and that will be 50. Beautifully hit along the floor by Eve Jones. Applause from the press box and the pavilion where there are people to appreciate that innings. I'm sure you're standing and applauding at home as well. 94 the score moves on to. Eve Jones has 50.
It's a fantastic knock from Eve, and for her to take responsibility here, both as captain and as an opening batter, it's really good to see.
Down the track she comes this time, and she's found the extra cover boundary again by the looks of things. 4 more added on to the total, 98 without loss. 54 Eve Jones goes to. And it seems as if the only thing that can scupper her here is getting a bit carried away.
Yeah, I don't think Eve is a player that would get carried away. She's very level-headed, and she will know that in an ideal world one of these 2 are going to be there at the end, if not both. Actually, it would be really good to see that the 2 of them out there at the end. But stranger things have happened in cricket.
Well, yes, I mean, you feel take something very strange indeed with 69 more required, but it could start this ball. But Jones is having none of it, and after getting 2 boundaries, she draws applause actually there for finding the cover fielder right in the gap on the boundary, and 1 is taken, 99 without loss. And that 50 partnership has become nearly 100 in no time at all. The Duckworth-Lewis pass score, for those who sort of use that as a gauge, is at 47, which just shows how well these 2 are going. But of course wickets change that. The 100 will be brought up though. Gwennon Davis sweeping Georgie Boyce to Laura Marshall at backward square leg, and that is a 100 partnership from the Central Sparks. A very professional job by these 2.
It is a really good job by the 2 opening batters, and we're coming into today's round of games without the England bubble players, so for them to slot in, obviously Eve's been opening and been very used to that slot, but Gwennon coming in here, she's done it at various levels and for various teams, so it was quite a natural pair to put together.
Well, drinks are on. How has this week been at New Road? Because obviously you've kind of got that smaller nucleus of a squad now that the England players have returned. How have they enjoyed the week they've had here?
It's been good. We've had 2 training sessions here at New Road yesterday and Thursday, and then we've had an opportunity at Edgbaston as well. So what we're doing is we're offering up the 3 sessions if we possibly can per week, and then the players decide on which ones they would like to go to. So we've had good attendance at all 3 sessions, and it's been really good to get here and have practiced out on the middle as well on Thursday and yesterday, having a net on the outfield. and being able to do a bit of fielding practice as well.
So that would have, I guess, just given them the familiarity with the surroundings before they step on, because this is a sort of it's a smaller ground and a closer ground. We say it's actually quite weird seeing it with no spectators. It's almost weirder here because it looks so full no matter how people are here. But I guess it is a little bit of a less intimidating environment than Edgbaston perhaps is.
Yeah, I think so. It's
in comes Thomas, back onto stumps goes Davis, and she will have an eye maybe on a not out already. 67 more though required by the Central Sparks. These two have batted very well so far, but there's still work to do, and they will know they have to do as much of it as possible. Natalie Brown with a field in here to prevent the run from the Davis defensive stroke. Thomas with a short little run comes in, short of a length. Oh dear, it's near the pull shot, and luckily there is somebody back on the boundary, so only one will be taken, and that was right into the arc.
It was hit again with a lot of power from Gwennon, and a couple of bounces found the fielder.
In comes Olivia Thomas, and this is driven down the ground superbly again by the left-handed Eve Jones. It's a real joy to watch her during this innings, and she takes the score on to 59. That's a superb stroke, and as soon as she's reached that milestone, she seems to have been freed up.
Yeah, she's going well here, and certainly, as you say, since she's got 50, she's pushing the scoring rate on.
Here is Thomas running into bowl, and Jones is down the ground. She'll just get one this time. Sort of bat seemed to close ever so slightly as she struck it, and that's why the power wasn't quite there on this occasion, but it's a useful run nonetheless.
She's just rehearsing where that should have gone, where she would have liked that to have gone.
106 without loss for Central Sparks, and clear skies here. Defended out into the offside. It's almost looking like one of those Simpsons skies in the distance with the white clouds on the blue background.
It does.
And a dot ball to finish with. 106 without loss.
I think Gwennon's doing really well here actually, because she's faced far fewer balls than Eve, and it's noticeable because she keeps taking a guard every time she gets on strike. I don't think Eve's done this deliberately. She won't have done this deliberately, but she's faced 86 balls and Gwennon's only faced 64. So I think Gwennon's doing really well here to keep the concentration up. She lapsed in that very first game, concentration, so I think it's good to see that she's learning from what's occurred previously.
Yeah, that's one of the many aims really of this competition, as in comes Hannah Jones into the attack. This one flicked away. There's so many spinners in the Thunder lineup. They had 4 the other day that they used, and Hannah Jones was one of them, and she's on again. Single taken from the first ball, 107 the score. It was worked away there by Eve Jones. In comes Hannah Jones to bowl to Gwennon Davis. This one is played away into the leg side to Hartley. No run taken. Hannah Jones again, short of a length, and this one has struck Gwennon Davis. Must have pitched outside the line of the stumps there. Difficult to tell from our slight angle, but struck her very low down, so must have been in with a chance. Comes Jones again to the left-handed Davis, bowling left arm around the wicket.
I'm finding that interesting that for a left arm bowler to be bowling a left-handed bat around the wicket, it takes out that LBW.
It does seem odd, doesn't it, as this one is played behind square. Davis actually got a bit much on that in the end, and Heap was able to come across and pick up and do the fielding.
That might be a reflection of, like I said earlier on, that a lot of women's cricketers are right-handed.
Yeah, it might almost be force of habit from Hannah Jones here. As Davis came down the track, she's very disappointed not to get anything for that stroke, but she has to settle for a dot ball. 107 for, well, without loss is probably the easier way of saying that score. But yeah, Hannah Jones picked up 1 for 17 in the...
She bowled well I thought in the last game. I thought that she might be on before the time that she has come on. Because left arm bowlers are notoriously difficult to face, but perhaps because the two left-handed bats, Alex thought a little bit differently about it.
Thomas, short over length, it's worked away behind square just on the leg side, 1 taken, and the left-handed batters switch, and Gwen Davis will have the strike. Yeah, no, she got no reward on Bank Holiday Monday, but picked up a wicket against the Lightning in the first game. It's Thomas, who didn't get a bowl in the previous game, but did make useful runs, although wasn't able to add to the scoreboard today. Single taken there by Gwen Davis, 33 now on the board for her. Eve Jones, another neat stroke. The progress is simple at this stage for these two batters, and it's getting to the point with 56 now needed to win, 110 without loss to score, where these two will be eyeing going all the way. And Davis is down. It's an extravagant stroke. It was almost a sort of swept effort as she came down the pitch in the end, but she took it wide of mid-on and away for 4 runs, 114 without loss, and that'll be the message. These two need to try and go all the way now, I suppose. Yeah,
I'm just sat here thinking, this feels a little bit like when we played against Northern Diamonds.
Yes, very much so.
We were trying to find a way to break through, and perhaps could have been a bit more attacking, and I think that is probably what Alex needs to ask of her players now, is to someone has got to produce a moment here, otherwise this is going to just go away from them.
Thomas trying to produce that moment, and she might well have done. A sweep shot from Davis misses, and she was plumb in front. 114 for 1. Davis is out for 37. She faced 72 balls in that innings, and well, it needed a moment, and there appears to be one there. 114 for 1.
Well, that could be a batter error. It's one of those where obviously Gwen has tried to move the scoring rate on. You've seen from the previous couple of balls she's got the intention to move it quite quickly. She's really disappointed with herself walking off here, and she, I'm sure, will look at that and think that she should have played that with a little bit more respect.
Yeah, just as if she was trying to wipe it away, and the ball dipped on it, and she was all of a sudden in a very difficult position indeed. We'll get you the analysis of that innings just a moment. 72 balls and 5 fours in 80 minutes for Gwen Davis. She was part of the partnership that took the score to 114. 63 of those from Eve Jones. Now, it's felt a very similar game, or very similar chase certainly, to that first game, in that there were a few too many extras at the start. It let the openers get off to a start, and they've made the most of it. The new batter is Marie Kelly, 59 not out on Bank Holiday Monday. Really impressive innings, that one. I was saying it reminded me, and I was trying to look the scorecards up in the week and didn't quite find the time. I think it might have been when Charlotte Edwards got 94 against the Aussies, but it was definitely a Charlotte Edwards innings in Australia that I remember her playing quite distinctly. Remember listening to it, and where she really just ground away, and that's what Kelly seemed to do on Bank Holiday Monday. I know obviously it's a big idol of hers as well.
Yeah.
In comes Hannah Jones. We'll get some more thoughts from Laura McLeod in just a moment, as this one is played into the offside. Single taken.
Given the start that we had on Saturday, I think it was important to stay in the competition. So, and I think, as I said on commentary on Monday, we had the luxury of being able to take our time, and also given the fact that you had a couple of England players within the ranks, Eccleston and Cross, you could afford to wait for the bad ball.
115 for 1 the score as Hannah Jones approaches and Marie Kelly drives but doesn't find her first run. More encouragement for Hannah Jones. Left arm around the wicket, so right-handed Kelly, who tries to force off the back foot, but the ball wasn't quite where she wanted. Rehearses the foot movement once again. Northern Diamonds now 80 for 3 in their chase at 2-7. Side with 2 wins to their name in the Northern group. Central Sparks looking for their second, but they don't get any closer to it from that delivery from Jones, just driven away. In comes Hannah Jones again, short for length, worked but in no particular direction by Kelly.
She's got a really good field set here actually.
Yeah, so we've got mid-off, extra cover, cover's just gone back to the boundary, backward point. Bring you the leg side after this delivery as Jones bowls, Kelly drives, and Boyce has managed to get something on it but not stop it, so a single is scampered. It gets Kelly off the mark, 116 for 1. Over is complete. We've got 22 of them left, so 28 have gone by. 116 for 1 is a very nice position for the Sparks to be in.
It is. You would have taken that at the start of the day. That's something that you look at where you've come from in the previous couple of games, and maybe set out a bit of an objective for the batters, and certainly our coaches will be fairly pleased with the effort so far.
And this group will be wide open if the Lightning do manage to restrict the Diamonds, as in comes Thomas, floats it up, didn't go in the direction that Kelly would have hoped for.
I think we always knew that once the England bubble players had played, a very different competition would be ahead of us.
Here's Thomas, forced out into the offside, but doesn't quite find its way through an infield which has a backward point, a cover and a mid-off. No run. Yeah, I mean it was only one of the Bryce sisters who got runs today, but actually that's the interesting factor, as down comes Kelly. She's hit this very nicely on the full, turned it into the full toss, 4 runs, 120 for 1 the board moves to. Kelly is on to 5 and picking up where she left off the other day, but sort of the Lightning have almost kept their runs with having the Bryce sisters still in there, so you would imagine they're going to be formidable in these next few games.
Yeah, I think Sarah Bryce is 350s on the bounce now, so she's doing really, really well.
This one's bowled by Thomas. It's gone luckily in the end over the top of short cover. There's going to be 2 taken. 122 the board moves on to, the target dwindling away, 45 now to win, but Marie Kelly just a little bit foxed by the flight there, it seems.
It was a bit of a tentative shot there, and perhaps needed to just smash it.
Defends this time.
Or do that.
Went for the more negative option.
The one or the other, yeah.
As in comes Olivia Thomas, throws it up, Kelly's down the track, this one's driven through extra cover, and this will be 4 as well. Just beats the dive from Dyson coming across from mid-off. Score moves to 126, Kelly is on to 11, and this encouraging of this positive stroke play. Eve Jones over the top, Marie Kelly to show a little bit more positive intent, which she did there and got the result.
She did, yeah.
Was that part of your England career at the crease as well? Was that always did you always go for those options that you're advocating from here?
Well, is it not a case of do as I say, when I look back to some of the footage that I've got, I really wish I would have been able to had the freedom, or played with the confidence, shall we say, that some of these girls are now afforded to play with.
Hannah Jones begins the over. It's forced off the back foot. There's a not particularly tidy piece of fielding, but an effective one in that it prevents the run being scored there and prevents any further progress towards this target of 167. The Sparks on course for a big win, it seems. They'll want to get inside the 40 over mark from here, you would imagine. Hannah Jones produces another dot there. As in comes Hannah Jones again. And again, it's a dot ball. Just turned away into the leg side on that occasion. Jones floats it up, and Eve Jones drives up to mid-off. Throw comes in, it hits the stumps, and it'll be a single, and that's all a little bit of pinball cricket there, but fortunately for the Sparks, they get to their respective ends, and we're in the crease when the wickets were hit.
There's a teapot by the captain there. I mean, she probably did the right thing by just making sure that Marie was in her ground, but you just never know where that ball is going to then end up if it hits the wickets.
We've seen some impressive throwing in this game, including a run out that Eve Jones was able to get Ellie Threlkeld with, defended by Kelly, and no run taken. As in comes Hannah Jones, turned away by Marie Kelly. She'll get one, she'll be thinking about two, she'll get two, and that's an example of something I don't think we saw in the Thunder innings very often, just that pressure on the fielder that then forced the error and allowed them back for two.
Again, it's we're now playing at a level where things like that you can't get away with and people will push you, so you've got to pick up the ball really cleanly, you've got to know where to stand in order to save the two but not be hit over the head. They're all on a learning curve here, and this is great cricket for them to play and to contribute to their journeys.
Still 11th on that England run scorer list.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were 7th.
Now top 10 now.
And that's of the if you exclude Knight, Beaumont and Siver, who have quite a lot,
okay,
you'll be in the top 10. And so of the retired players, you're
okay.
in the top 10. So
I've got the fastest Test century by an England player.
Did you?
I've only found that out this year. Yeah.
You've only found that out. Well, no wonder I didn't know.
16 years ago as well.
How many balls was that off then? As Hartley bowls, and this one's played back to her.
Pretty rubbish at remembering the stats, but I think it was 146. I didn't last too much longer.
I reckon it was 146. There, Hartley bowls, and this one's driven back to her.
I don't know anything else.
Well, annoyingly, I've got a lot of typing to do now. Hartley is bowling now from the new road
It was
end.
tweeted recently.
As Hartley comes in and bowls, this one's away behind square on the offside. Hartley's hands go to her head, although if she'd wanted a gully, it was probably her responsibility to put one there, as 3 are taken. Good running once again from the Sparks players, 132 for 1, making this look comfortable, and there could have been a little bit of a wobble with that wicket, but it doesn't seem to have materialised.
No, actually these seem to be just getting on with things, and these two have batted together recently as well, so they'll be just trying to think about how do we get to that end score.
Hartley bowls, turned away into the offside this time, with an open face by Marie Kelly. 132 for 1 it remains. As you can tell, I'm still trying to type in details in the search engine as Hartley bowls. Down the track comes.
It's good to see that intent from Marie, and Alex is now responding by putting a deep cover out.
Hartley in again. No run from Kelly from the left, though she was nearly done by the bounce there, but thankfully, her point of view, it crept by outside on the phone at the moment, but 132 for 1, importantly, is the...
I was going to say, that'd be a bit embarrassing, wouldn't it, if we couldn't find it.
Has managed to find the analysis. Will the analysis show up on a phone? Oh, brilliant. So the tweet here, it's from Hypercourse on 22nd of August, so quite recently, is Hannah Jones bowls, and I thought for all the world I heard the sound of the bail just dropping off the top of the stump there, but it was the wicket-keeper's pad in the end. Yep, Laura McLeod, 146 balls against New Zealand at Scarborough in 2004, as this one is bowled, and it's cracked away by Eve Jones. That's the shot which has characterised this innings, and it's a fantastic one to see in the sunshine here at New Road. 136 for 1. By no means has it been a quick 72, although it's come around about 100 balls now, 99 balls on the board, but it's been a very useful one. Yeah, Laura McLeod, 146 balls against New Zealand. Sarah Taylor, 154. Taunton against South Africa. Daniels got another one for 150
Robert Daniels
in 1996. Clark, 160 balls. Worcester here, appropriately enough, in 1998, and 173 balls from Cook at Wetherby in 1986. So yeah, you were right. And despite the bad memory, it's on 146 balls, but it was only August, so in comes Hannah Jones again. Thanks to Claire Jenkins as well for finding that, as this one has beaten the extra cover and mid-off fielders as well. 4 more runs, 140 for 1. This game is only going one direction. There are 27 more runs required for victory, and this has been an incredibly impressive performance from the Central Sparks.
There's a lot of balls in these last few overs that are going sort of between extra cover and you know, I guess long off, and I don't know if it's great placement by the batters, or the fielders are not quite in the right places.
Long off's back, and this one's clipped away behind square on the leg side. Marshall will come and do the fielding. She was one of the players to make a 20 today. Marshall 25, Boyce 27, Rachael 22, Natalie Brown 27, and Alex Dyson a useful 24. And that's really the story from the Thunder's point of view. They've not been able to keep control of that, and 141 now the Central Sparks score. Remains as such after a drive from Kelly, who is now on to 72 without being out against the Thunder in this competition. Drives firmly again straight to Boyce, who does the fielding. Over comes to an end. 141 for 1. Sparks on course for victory here. 26 more required.
I think the 26 might come quite quickly here, and the game might, as you say, the game might be over for us to get that bonus point and take some really good momentum into the next round of games. We're back here next Friday against Lightning, and then we'll move up to Heyhoe on the Sunday. So to play again a couple of games over 3 days will be a good test.
Yeah, and it's Grace Road, is it, the game against Lightning?
Yeah, that's 2 weeks today.
So that's another nice first-class ground to go and visit. Big one, Grace Road.
It is.
It's a fair old playing area, as in comes Alex Hartley, and this is driven firmly and sweetly again by Eve Jones. 1 taken, Heat returns the ball, and 142 is the score.
I think when we go to grounds now, it kind of depends on what's been and gone on the tracks, on the squares. So whilst it might be a big ground, you never know where the actual track is going to be.
Hartley bowls down the track, comes Marie Kelly making the most of the one here at New Road, but not finding the boundary she was looking for. Hartley again on her way. Bowls with that sort of underspinning action, and Kelly is able to drive firmly once more. No run though on offer again, hitting it very sweetly though, as In comes Hartley. Ooh, that time she got in a bit of a mess, but at least got enough bat on ball to keep her wicket intact.
Again, it's looking at how many consecutive dot balls do you face here, and how do you find a winner or a boundary?
3 in a row for Kelly so far. We'll make that 4 with a ball defended back to Hartley, who's into her 8th over. Switched ends here, but there hasn't really been much on offer for the Thunder captain. Bit on the short side, not really worked one way or the other by Kelly. The over is complete with 5 dot balls on that occasion. 142 for 1. It shouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things. They need to just make sure they find these 25 runs in the next 7 overs. Well, that's the only real sort of jeopardy that there seems to exist at the moment. Although I'm sure when you're involved in the game, it's maybe less easy to say that.
It's not over until it's over, I think we can all conclude. I mean, as we saw last night, didn't we, with the England men against Australia, and chatting to some of the players this afternoon, over lunch they were saying that they turned the game off last night, as they thought it was a foregone conclusion.
Because they all had to be in bed ready to...
That is it, you're right, yeah.
It certainly worked for Eve Jones if that's the ploy she's tried. 78 to her name from 102 deliveries. She's just assessing the field. Long off not out, interestingly enough. It was in the previous over, but in fact, and at the end of the previous over from this end. But yes, you're right, the change of bowling is the reason. And that Brown bowls short of a length, cut away into the offside. There was a big sort of puff of dust from the footholes as it was hit away. 143 for 1. Brown into her 6th over, the first of her second spell, but she bowled 5 on the game on Bank Holiday Monday, 1 maiden 18 for 1, and figures have struggled to match that so far, but she's in now and bowling, turned away by Marie Kelly. There's a fielder out at backward square leg, so 1 will be taken on that occasion.
I think this is where what you'd like to see is, some, as an impartial cricket fan here, is for...
In comes Nat Brown, who went for 15 runs in her first spell of 5 overs. Doesn't get scored off there.
With Eve, yes, okay, she's got how many people out? You've got three people out, fine leg, third man and cover, but you need to do something with this game, and you need to tighten everything up.
Brown hits hard into the offside, and for once Thomas can't stop cleanly, and there's a single, although she took most of it off it, which many players wouldn't have there. Yeah, it almost feels like it's at the stage where it needs to be either fielders on the boundary or fielders in catching positions and attacking here if there's to be.
You've got to search, get that breakthrough.
Here comes Natalie Brown, clipped away by Marie Kelly in front of square. She's got a real chase on for Georgie Boyce now, who picks up and returns. 146 for 1. The Sparks have only lost Gwennon Davis in this chase for 37, and Eve Jones and Marie Kelly are progressing nicely. Jones is on 80, Kelly 15 not out, and in comes Natalie Brown, and this one's driven away through extra cover, and even with the fielder out on the cover boundary, they won't get round because Eve Jones is hitting that shot so incredibly well, and 84 not out now, 150 for 1. She's got to make sure she sees through the last 17 runs, but this is almost exactly what you called for her to do, to take the responsibility to get the bulk of that total, and she's already done that. She
has. She's batted really, really nicely here, and I think when you look at her wagon wheel at the end of the game, there'll be 2, I think, big hot spots, and they'll be through extra cover and deep backward square where she's been sweeping the spinners. So yeah, she's batted really nicely here, good tempo, and she set a really nice platform for the team.
And it's nice because we've seen that shot she played at the start of the innings off the back foot where she found the point boundary, I think, in every innings she's played as Hartley comes in. And this one is turned away by Marie Kelly, who knew the single was on offer in the leg side. She takes it, and 151 the board ticks onto that last 4 from Eve Kelly, bringing up the 150. But we've seen the other 2 shots you mentioned there, the drive through extra cover and the sweep this time as well. And she just assesses the field. Field has come over to 45 with that sweep in mind. As Hartley bowls, it's forced down the ground. Liberty Heap will come over to pick up the ball. 152 the score moves on to. Reminder, if you've been enjoying the coverage, we've had plenty of voices on today. We've had Laura McLeod, we've had Claire Jenkins, who's going to just pop back into the box. So our thanks to Laura for joining us, and this will be 4 more here, driven away through the offside by Marie Kelly, and it takes her score on to 20, the Central Sparks on to 156. They're 10 away from victory, but as we say, we've had plenty of voices on today. We've had Laura McLeod, we've had Raf Nicholson from the Cricket Her website, and an academic at Bournemouth University studying the history of women's cricket. And we've also, of course, had Claire Jenkins, who's just settling back in alongside me. That ball defended away by Kelly, just into groove again after hitting the boundary. 156 for 1. Alex Hartley bowls this one. Down the track comes Kelly, but can't find a way through. So another dot ball recorded. So if you have enjoyed the coverage, make sure you hit the little thumbs up underneath the video, just to let everyone know, and it allows more people to see it. And the better these do, of course, the more chance we've got of doing more of them and bringing more of you the coverage at home. So we're looking forward to doing that. And Claire Jenkins, this has been very, very professional from the Central Sparks.
I think so, yeah. And once again, you've had the most exciting time while I've been off the mic. Maybe I should sit off more. Yeah, great to get the insight from Ron McLeod, and Central Sparks really kind of taking control of this game now.
Now
the power play.
The arm for the power play.
Yeah. It's the enforced power play at this stage if it's not taken in there. 26
comes in. It could mean these last 11 runs arrive in a bit of a hurry. So number 11 in yellow figures on the back of Eve Jones's shirt in the sunshine, which is matching it, who is at the crease and has looked very good so far, mainly because of shots like that on the extra cover drive. She'll only get 1 here because even Olivia Thomas is struggling to cope with that extra cover drive at the moment. That one seemed to just bend her fingers back and get away for 1. 157 for 1. 10 more required.
And that's also the difference, that they've taken that single where Lancashire seem to be just a little bit perhaps naive to take those singles wherever they can. Keep it ticking over.
As if Central Sparks could well be going level on points with Diamonds, because the score in the other game is Northern Diamonds 117 for 6 in pursuit of 227. That ball just crept down the leg side there. I must confess, I was reading the score and I missed the signal off.
I was looking at you looking at the scoreboard.
Turns at the end of the mark. The board does tick on to 158, so there was a wide ball signalled there as this one is clipped away. Olivia Thomas just getting a bit frustrated there and having a throw at the stumps at the non-strikers end. So it looks as if that's going to be tough for the Northern Diamonds to do from there, but who knows. But if they do lose, Lightning would have 4, because it's going to be at least close, you would think, as in comes Nat Brown down the leg side again. Maybe got a little bit of something here. We'll await the signal, which the commentator will remember to watch this time, and it into the raised bent knee with a little tap to signify leg by. So 159 for 1. And of course the Sparks, if they get there in the next 4 overs, and they've got another 3 balls here as well, so 27 balls to get their 8 runs they require, they will get a bonus point and go level with Diamonds on 9 points. But Rachael takes cleanly. Jones, I think, is a little dismayed she doesn't get a wide ball there, because she was doing her best to reach it. In the Southern Group, South East Stars are almost certain to be defeated here, 89 for 8 in pursuit of 210. There's 16 overs of that one remaining as Jones drives nicely through extra cover. It's the stroke that has characterised this innings, and it's going to speed away from Hannah Jones. Pops over the rope, 4 runs, 163 for 1, and another one of those, and the Central Sparks will have won this game, which means I need to squeeze in the Sunrisers score against Western Storm. You'll be able to find at the very least pictures of all of these games that are going on. 120 for 5 the Sunrisers in pursuit of 266 to win that game, so 146 required off 17 overs. Those are the scores in the South Group, but the Northern Diamonds game is probably the one for Sparks supporters, who I'm sure will be an increasing number of if they keep playing cricket like this.
Yes.
They will like that score that the Diamonds are struggling.
Yeah, follow those Twitter feeds, retweet, like them, get involved with the debate. Sparks will fly, or thunder is coming in the case of this game, but get involved, like the live feed, because the more likes we get, as Mike said, the more chance we get, more live women's cricket.
As I say, I really do hope you've enjoyed this one today. It's been a steadily increasing day in terms of the weather. It's just got better and better, and it's now absolutely glorious sunshine. The cathedral is virtually sparkling there, even though the brickwork's sort of a brown colour, but it just looks as if it's shining out on the big beacon of light over there on the other side of the River Severn. And Worcester's an absolute picture, and it looks as if the Central Sparks are going to win this game. Marie Kelly on strike, who's not been dismissed by the Thunder in either of the 2 games so far. She has 79 runs across those 2 games.
Good point.
Ground out the win the other day, and is trying to make sure she's there when the winning runs are struck this time, and that was nearly them. She's going to get a 1 if she's quick, which she is, and it's 164 for 1.
And as we sort of wind towards the end, I would like to say it's great to see the female umpires being given an opportunity in the Rachael Heyhoe Flint trophy.
Yep, we have the 1 for this game, as in comes Alex Hartley. Looks to flick off her legs as Eve Jones, and she would have been absolutely mortified
yes,
if she'd
get to this stage.
Flicked one into the hand belly throw held down the leg side there. There was a little bit of something involved. Rachael knocked the bails off.
Yeah, I asked Sue Redfern about if any women or men who were interested in taking up the umpiring baton.
In comes Hartley. This one's going to be smashed down the ground. It could be the victory, but there's other ideas there from Liberty Heap, and that is out, run out. Liberty Heap did very well to, 1, prevent the boundary, and then to a direct hit from the stumps from the very edge of the circle, and Eve Jones will be very, very disappointed. She's made 90 from 113 balls, a fantastic innings, characterised by crashing the ball through extra cover and sweeping to backward square leg for 4, but with just 3 runs required for victory, and the pavilion standing to applaud the captain Eve Jones in. She must depart the scene. 164 for 2, and other than the end, that was an absolutely brilliant innings.
Yeah, brilliant innings. We had the run out, the direct hit run out from her as well. She stopped the ball like a good one in the field. So yeah, proper role models innings. Yeah, the point that I started was, if you're interested in umpiring, please go to England Wales Cricket Board's web pages for the Association of Cricket Officials, or if you're interested in scoring even as well, but if you're interested in that, having seen and been inspired by more female officials in this trophy, then please go along to there.
Yeah, because the innings like that one from Eve Jones don't happen without the officials, the scorers in the box to our left here, so all required importantly. The new batter who has come in is Poppy Davis, nice for her to get a little bit of a feel for this competition, so she'll at the very least be facing the next delivery here, and she's another one of these wicket-keeper batters that the Central Sparks have in their ranks.
Yes, and well, one could argue that Eve Jones was given her an opportunity to bat, just at the end there, you know.
Just get the analysis of that Eve Jones innings. 112 minutes, 113 balls, 13 fours, and just about every one of them, I can't recall a sort of one that squirted away somewhere. They were all beautifully struck cricket shots.
Proper innings, really nice. I thought Gwen Davis batted well as well, and also that was the match winner on Saturday when they ran her out, because I think that could have been a really different game last Saturday had she kept her wicket a bit longer.
She really set the tempo, did Gwen Davis. Oh, that's taken a really sharp inside edge. It was one of those really high-pitched ones, and it just rolled past the stumps. So 3 runs required to win. Bit of a thankless task in some ways for Poppy Davis, but she'll be glad to be out there amongst the action, getting used to the competition. And now Brown comes in, laid away just in front of square on the offside, picked up by Georgie Boyce.
Well, it was Laura's point, wasn't it, about being in match positions and knowing what to do in those positions, so the more different situations they find themselves in, the better it is for their development as individuals as well as a team.
Here comes Nat Brown, Digless end, just outside the off stump. It's a throat really from Poppy Davis, just was in no position to play it in the end, and through the hands as it went through outside the off stump. Kelly not out on 21 from 37. Quite happy to stand on the back handle for now, as Brown bowls with an appeal. There's probably some bat, we'll find out in a moment. Angled in towards the stumps and has been creeping down. And a leg by is taken, 165 for 2. 2 more runs required for victory here from the Central Sparks. Need to make sure they sneak inside that 40 over mark. It'd be remiss to miss the bonus point from here, but I think it's going to happen. Nat Brown though, striving in, Kelly drives, deflection past the stumps. No run is on offer just yet. Still encouragement from the Thunder players.
Last ball over.
The spirit. And there will be 12 balls to get that bonus point after this delivery. Only 2 required. As Brown bowls, Kelly plays into the leg side. Just lost her shape on the shot ever so slightly, and has to settle for another dot ball. 165 for 2 at the end of the 38th over.
You've got to hope that Mary Kelly, given that wonderful innings that she played last week, will hit the winning runs here, because I think that would be kind of poetic justice, I think, for this game, to get those last few runs.
Yeah, she's batted very well indeed.
And to be not out.
Runs without being dismissed.
Always good for the averages when you're not out as well.
Yeah, if you have the 4 from the first game, that'll be a nice average of 84, and she'll be very happy with that indeed, although Eve Jones has gone past her in one go with that 90. And maybe she'll need the 2 runs just to keep up. Poppy Davis on strike. Hannah Jones is the latest bowler to switch ends. She's going to bowl a 5th over here from the new round end in front of us. Floats this one up. Davis drives neatly into the gap. This could be 2. This could be the win for the Central Sparks. It might even go all the way to the rope.
Not quite.
The fielder just pulls it in out there, but the 2 runs are completed. The applause rings out, and that's that, folks. The Central Sparks win by 8 wickets this game. They've chased down 167 in absolutely comprehensive fashion. Eve Jones made the bulk of the runs, 90 before she was run out. Gwen Davis was the other batter dismissed. LBW for 37 in the end. That was off the bowling of Olivia Thomas, who just managed to get one to dip on her. The score was 114 for 1 at that stage. Even at that stage, it looked as if there wouldn't be any doubt over the result. Eve Jones took it almost all the way to within 3 runs, 164 for 2, and she was run out with a superb direct hit, it has to be said, by the young Liberty Hooper. I think it was here, he's only 15 years old, so that's a good start to her career to be able to get the run out, but it was only going to go one way. In the end, Marie Kelly not out 21 from 39 balls, as we say, 80 runs in the competition now. She's in 36 minutes to get 3 balls, and Poppy Davis was 2 not out. She just came in for 5 minutes, 5 balls. But the main analysis we need to tell you is Eve Jones, who batted for 112 minutes, faced 113 balls and scored 4 fours, a captain's knock if ever you saw one. It was all set up with good bowling, notably from Claire Boycott, who took 4 for 40 as the Thunder were dismissed for 160, or reached 167 in their 50 overs. It's been another thoroughly enjoyable game of cricket as the players shake hands. Claire Jenkins, what's your final reflection on that one?
Well, it kind of got more exciting as the game went on, and it seemed like every time I went off the comms. But you know, it certainly got more entertaining as it went on. We've seen some good execution of skills. We've seen some great play, and when you think that the England players have gone off to the bubble, so this is the other players' chance to step up and really give it a crack here. And as you say, some captains knock and run out and fielding from Eve Jones, and very pleasant, and with the sunshine a bit warmer, it feels like proper cricket weather.
Yep.
So
it's been a beautiful day at New Road, the sun shining, and the sun certainly shone on the Central Sparks. They win this game in comprehensive fashion and pick up a bonus point, so it'll be 5 points from this game, and they've beaten the Thunder by 8 wickets.
with England this time, because what has happened for me in the Premier League is that these younger players have really learnt this time good grounding at their clubs and getting the right opportunities with their club sides in the Premier League, which hasn't happened so much in the past. I mean, I'm immediately looking even here today, Connor Cody is one brought in, Calvin Phillips will be another, Maitland Niles, Mason Greenwood, Jack Grealish is now in, and Phil Foden and others. They're now not just bit players for their club sides, and that is so important that they're already in a great position before they become possibly in position on a regular basis for England.
Yeah, I totally agree, and the beauty of it is we've got such a vast amount, there's always this clamour that we haven't got enough, British-based talent playing in the Premier League, and I get that point, but the ones that do play in there, that have broken into their first teams, and I think the numbers look really good for Gareth. We've got a lot of players, and Connor Cody, for example, has had to wait a while. I remember seeing him in the England's younger age groups, and he had leadership qualities about him then. It took him a while to get there, but the one thing Gareth's done is he's made sure that the door's always open for players if their form's right, and that's fantastic. And another player I'd like to touch on, Maitland Niles. I mean, I covered Arsenal probably 4 or 5 times at the back in lockdown over those 9 games, and I thought he was absolutely outstanding, and as I say, I'm so pleased to see him in the squad.
And just finally on this particular part, before we look at the keeper situation and then begin